If you closed your document or your Excel worksheet at the end of video 2, you will want to reopen Kite Sales Forecast. In this video, we are going to be looking at how to change text alignment, number formats, and how to enhance the worksheet. I'm going to begin by selecting C4 through C10. These numbers are not dollar amounts, they're not decimals, they have more than 3 places. We have more than 100 places. So I'm going to format this with commas. Once it's selected and I come to the Home tab, in this group right here, we have options for changing the format of our numbers. We can use the drop-down arrow here for some options, but then we also have some that are used quite often right below the drop-down menu. And we're going to choose commas, and notice that it added a comma for every 3 places, and then it also added 2 decimal places. In order to be consistent though, I really don't want the extra decimal places, so I have 2 options up here. One is increase decimals. If I click it, oops, that was the decrease, sorry. If I click it once, the increase by 1, it gives me 3 decimal places, and then if I go over here to the decrease decimal icon, it allows me to remove the decimals as I choose. Now in cells B4 through B9, I'm going to be changing these to have an accounting or a dollar signed formatting, a currency formatting of some sort, but I also want the sales under year 1 sales to be formatted. I could do them separately, but I could also do them together by holding down my command key. After I have selected B4 through B9, I can hold down the command key and select D4 through D9. Now with both of them selected, they're called non-adjacent ranges, I can come up here to my number formatting section. Next to the dollar sign, I can click the down arrow and choose English. If I want some more accounting formats, I can click on more accounting formats, and I have the currency, accounting. We're going to choose accounting and click OK. And notice that it puts dollar signs to the far left of the cell. It added 2 decimal places if it didn't already have them. It added commas where necessary. We're going to click column C at this point. I'm clicking the column heading, and I'm going to be inserting a column at this point. I want to insert it between the net price and year 1. I'm going to be adding a column called release date. So to do that, I've activated it here, and now I can insert. If I click insert at this point, it's going to insert it to the left of my selected cell. Now, what was in C is in D, and I have a completely blank cell, or completely blank column in column C. With that new blank column in C3, I'm going to type in some new labels. Release date, and notice that release date is cut off. Now, I could double click up here and make it wider, but I really don't need a wider column. Instead, I'd rather have release date wrap in the cell. So with it activated, making that the active cell, I can come up here on my Home tab to wrap text, click it once, and it will wrap it within that one cell, and it will make the cell or the entire row actually higher to accommodate that second line. In C4, I'm going to type in March 1st, 2013, and I'm going to press enter. And it gave me a format different than what I had typed in. If I want to change how my date is represented, I can simply come up here to my number formats. I can come over down to date. Here's my short date format or my long date format. I'm going to choose short date. So it now says 3/1/13. I'm going to click the copy icon at this point while I'm on C4, and I'm going to click the copy icon up on the Home tab, and then I'm going to select C5 through C9. And then I'm going to come up to my Home tab and find the paste button, and it will paste that exact same date in the range that I just selected. Now notice I didn't use the fill button. If I used the fill button, don't do this on your document, but if I use the fill button, it would automatically change the dates to the next one. It would make a relative change. Since I want all of them to be March 1st, 2013, that's why I'm going to get rid of these for clarification purposes. That's why I copied it and then I selected C5 through C9 and then clicked paste, and it put the exact same date in all of the remaining cells. In row 3, I'm going to click the row indicator up here. All of the cells in row 3 are selected. I'm going to change the alignment on all of those cells to center justified. We have the same icons that we had in Word where we can left justify the text, center justify it, or right justify it. And I'm going to center justify all of the labels in those cells. I'm also going to apply the bold to make it just stand out a little bit. Finally, I'm going to come up here to row 1, and I'm going to select all the cells from A1 to E1. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate cells. But I'd like this title in one cell that stretches all the way across the width of my tape or my worksheet. So with them selected, I'm going to simply click Merge and Center. And it centers the text, it merges those together, and it becomes one cell. If I don't like it, I can always choose to unmerge it, but I do want to use it, so I'm going to keep the Merge and Center. Now we're going to change some appearance on our worksheet. You see these little marching ants here. If you don't want those anymore, just go ahead and click Escape and they go away. Well, down here on the status bar, we can view our worksheet in a couple of different views. The one that we're on right now, if you hover over it, it says, I'm down here at the bottom, it says Normal View. If I hover over the next one, it's Page Layout View. If I click on that, notice that it looks like it's what it's going to look like when I print it out. We have our header like we did in Word, except the header is divided up into 3 sections, and they also have a footer down here that's divided up into 3 sections as well, and you can type in any of those sections. The only place you can see them is when we are on the Page Layout View. And then finally we have our Page Break Preview, which we're not going to worry about too much right now. While we're still in Print Layout View, we're going to make some changes to our header and our footer and the actual appearance of our spreadsheet. The first thing that I want you to do is to click in the header area, and remember there's 3 sections. For this particular assignment, I want you to click in the far right section and just simply type your name. When you click outside of the header, your name will right justify because it's in the far right box. Then I want you to scroll down to the bottom and click on the footer area. Remember there's 3 sections. We're going to first enter something into the far left section. If we go to our header and footer tab at the top, you'll notice that we have some codes or some things that we can actually insert into our header and footer. Instead of typing today's date so that it always appears as today's date at the bottom of this document, I'm going to actually insert a code, current date, so that whenever I open this Excel worksheet, it will change the date to whatever date I happen to be opening it. When I click on current date, note down here that a command is put in, or some codes are put in. It has an ampersand and then some brackets with the word date in there. And then if I click over here to the far right side, I can do the same for my file name. Instead of typing in Kite Sales Forecast, if sometime I decide to change the name of that, I'm going to use the code file name down here. Once again, I get the ampersand, some brackets, and the word file. And when I exit out of it, the file name will appear in the far left corner, the far right corner. If I click back down in the footer area, you'll see the code. When I click out of it, the actual file name appears. This is how it will print. You won't see the code commands. Okay, at this point, we're going to change the appearance of our actual spreadsheet by adding a theme, adding some borders, and adding some shading. The first thing I'll do is position myself within the text of that spreadsheet. Go to my Page Layout tab, and under Themes, I'm going to choose Droplet. You can play around and try different themes if you want to. Eventually, I want you to choose this one. Notice how the appearance of my text is going to change once I choose a new theme. It made some of the columns a little wider. The font is slightly different. It put some spacing between my dollar signs and the actual amounts. And you can, once again, you can play around with different themes to see what they are going to look like. Eventually work your way to Droplet. The next thing we're going to add is some borders. You'll simply select A1 down to E10. And we're going to go to the Home tab, and kind of to the far left side, we have our bold, italics, underline, and right next to it, you have the option of adding a border. Just simply click the down arrow next to that icon, and you can choose any style you want. We're going to choose all borders. When I click all borders, every cell will have a border around it. If I click away from it, you can see that the lines are a little darker up here. You can still see the grid lines down here, but only the dark lines are going to print. To prove that, I'm going to go up to File and choose Print. And you'll notice on my print view, only the darker borders are showing up. I'm going to cancel out that. We'll cover the printing in our next lesson. And then finally, we're going to select the cells in row 3. So from A3 to E3, I want you to select them. Right next to your border option, you have your fill color option. It looks like a little paint can pouring some colors in there. I want you to click on the down arrow. And notice that we have some theme colors up here. My theme colors may be a little bit different than yours. Whichever theme colors you have, you're going to choose the third one. Mine happens to say ice blue background 2. Yours might say light gray background 2 or something different. Just simply click that third one and notice how the cells fill with that color. At this point, we're going to end this video. Therefore, you'll want to save your work. You can either exit out of the file and come back to it later, or you can proceed on to the final video.